How's it going? I'm Matt Rzyński, and I just wanted to answer a question about the ultralight weight management program. As a ultralight practitioner, you'll be working with me on a weekly basis, and we'll go through your progress together over the 5-week period if you're doing the 5-week program. And I want to give you a bit of a feel for what to expect. What are you going to get during that program? Or what are you going to be doing? So what it's all about, it's a therapeutic ketogenesis diet. So we're basically trying to get you into a state of ketosis. And this is a process where your body's actually using its own fat for fuel, producing what are called ketone bodies. And the way we're going to measure that is using a keto strip. So these keto sticks are basically something that you'll use on a daily basis. So first time you go to the toilet in the morning, you're going to use one of these keto strips, and what they will be able to do is tell you whether you're in a state of ketosis or not. So there's basically a color code there, and if you are down too low on this color code, then you're basically eating a little bit too many carbs. And if you're up on the other end of the spectrum, then you're probably eating a little bit too much protein. So this is how you're going to be measuring whether you're in a good state of ketosis and burning your own fat for fuel as you go through the program. And you'll do that on a daily basis, so you can always get feedback whether you are actually burning your body fat, or whether you need to maybe cut down the carbs a little bit or increase the amount of protein. So that's the keto sticks, and you'll be using those on a daily basis. This is how you're going to stay in that therapeutic range where you're going to be losing weight on a daily basis. Some of the things that you might experience during this induction phase through especially in the first 2 to 4 days, but over the course of the 5 weeks, you'll be able to use these habit relief drops. So you're basically taking 10 of those drops 4 times a day, and that's also providing you with a source of potassium. Potassium is one of the minerals that you need to supplement during the program, and it's not something that you'll be taking for life or anything like that. It's just something that helps keep your bowel movements regular through the period, because you're also going to be working on changing the way your body uses energy, and the supplementing with the potassium is very helpful just to keep you regular. So that's the habit relief. Something else you're going to be doing on a daily basis is having flaxseed oil. So flaxseed oil is a great source of omega-3 oil. So omega-3 is a very important oil to be eating. It's very good for the brain, and it's also one of the fatty acids that you'll be burning for fuel. But it's something that is lacking in our diet, so that's why a lot of foods in our normal standard diet don't have this or as much of this omega-3 fatty acid as we would like to have. So olive oil is a good source, but we recommend flaxseed oil in the program. So 15 mils of flaxseed oil and 15 mils of apple cider vinegar. Why apple cider vinegar? Well, this helps actually emulsify the fats, the flaxseed oil, and to help that get into your body, into your system. So the apple cider vinegar is recommended because it's not quite as harsh as a balsamic, for instance, but you'll basically be mixing that in with your salads, with your vegetables, and we'll talk about that on a case-by-case basis. So the other thing that you'll be doing is while we have 3 regular meals a day, in between those meals we've got these sachets that are basically, they're not a meal replacement or anything like that. It's simply a little, they come in a range of different flavours, and it's basically to curb any hunger cravings that you might be having while you're making this transition into a new way of eating. So we don't want you to be feeling hungry and craving food between meals, so that's why we've got the sachets. They're also supplemented with amino acids, and basically you can have them hot or cold. There are different flavours that you can choose, and that's going to help you curb your cravings between your breakfast, lunch and dinner. Another thing we'll be encouraging you to do is to get 3 to 4 lots of exercise per week, and this is about 30 to 60 minutes, and it's not in hitting the gym or anything like that. It's basically anything that you enjoy doing. So you might have a dog and you might like to go for a walk with the dog. That's going to be exercise. It might just be a walk around the shopping mall for 30 to 60 minutes, and that's your exercise, or one of your exercises for the day. So it's 3 to 4 times a week. It's not, you're not going to be sweating it out of the gym necessarily. It's whatever you enjoy doing that we're going to encourage, and identify what you're going to do there. Another thing that you're going to be doing on a daily basis is filling out a menu form. So basically that's just a record of the food you eat, and you'll be doing that on a daily basis, because what we're going to have you do is basically, so this is the manual that you'll have with the program, and what you'll need to do is get an idea for the portions. So you'll be weighing your food to start off with, and for example, if you had a portion of chicken for lunch, and you'd be looking at one portion being 60 grams. So the idea is that you get an idea for how big a size that is, so that when you have your meal, you're getting the right portion. So that's included in the manual that you get with the program, because you'll be blending protein with your carbohydrates as you go through your breakfast, lunch and dinner. So basically you have a set number of 4 portions of protein per day, and then 20 grams of carbs. So 20 grams of carbs is something that is quite important to achieve, and that's something that will go through the menu and the list of different foods that you can have during that period. So some of the foods that you'll need to be avoiding in the program include things like pasta, bread, cereal, soft drink. You can have diet soft drink if you have to, but we prefer you not to do that. The other thing that during the five-week program is that will get you to avoid is alcohol. Now, if you do want to have alcohol, then we'll talk about that, and we'll go have a look at the amount of carbs that are in the drinks that you like to have, because that's something that can be substituted, but we'd recommend you didn't. So, for example, white wine, 4-ounce glass of white wine, which is probably only half a glass, that already has, if it's a dry wine, it might have 4 grams of carbs in that. And remember, we're trying to get no more than 20 grams per day. So there's plenty of carbs that you can have, plenty of vegetables that you'll be able to eat as part of the diet. For example, green capsicum, a serve of capsicum only has about 1 gram of carbs. So that's something that you might mix in with your other carbohydrates to add up to your 20 grams per day. So I mentioned diet drinks, we don't recommend those. And also, we'll be talking about caffeine. Caffeine is something that you probably will need to curb if you're, especially if you're a soft drink drinker and you like your Coke and that sort of thing. We'll be looking at eliminating the the full strength, the sugar containing cake, but also reducing the amount of caffeine that you drink on a daily basis. We'd like to get that down as low as we can, because it can interfere with your blood glucose levels. So those are the main things to expect. We'll be meeting on a weekly basis to monitor your progress. When you start out the program, I'll take a medical history with you. We'll look at interactions between potential interactions with your existing medications, and if you've got any particular pre-existing conditions, we'll talk about those when we talk face to face, and come up with a plan for that. So that's about all I wanted to say, just to introduce what it's like being on the program. There's quite a lot more information to be found inside the manual that takes you through in detail, and there's also quite a lot of recipes in the manual itself that use the recommended vegetables. Oh, one other thing, if you do like fruit, you'd be happy to know that this is a plan that allows you to have some fruit. It's restricted to certain types of melon, so we've got rock melon, grapefruit, honeydew, and strawberries and watermelon. So those are the fruits that we would tend to steer towards during the program, and that's simply because of the lower amount of sugar that those fruits contain. If you were to have one full-size mango, for example, you'd already be over your carbohydrate allowance for the day. So you'd be avoiding some of the really super sweet fruit and just tending to go for these fruits that aren't full of so much sugar. Okay, so that's about all I wanted to say about that. Just a quick overview of what it's like to be on the Ultra Lite program.